Hey, look.
Yeah,
Look who's with us on the show.
Got a little sweet pea on there.
That's why I didn't put the ticker on so you could see her better, because I thought the ticker would cover her up.
Here.
Well, she tried to come up on the desk, and then she was eyeing the laptop. She's like, oh, I could sit on that.
Yeah.
And I was like, no, please. So I had to pick her up and put her on Daddy's lap. And she's actually being really good.
Yeah.
Normally she would just jump right off like, fuck this.
Yeah, she's kind of relaxed right now for some reason.
Aw, hi, baby
being relaxed.
girl. Yeah, you're being relaxed.
Yeah.
You're so sweet. Yeah, Bee's Nest, did you just get... I just sent you on Facebook. I just sent you Tom's, his profile.
Yeah,
so
you should already have that, dude. I don't know why you're running over the same old ground over and over again. Anyway, we just got done cutting a big long. It's an hour and a half long.
Well, almost an hour and a half.
Yeah, almost an hour and a half long review of the Apocalypse Now Redux.
Yeah.
That one of y'all sent us. We had all this shit written down. Who sent us what? And somehow we lost that.
Well, yeah, I kind of got...
So, I don't know. I think it might have been Louie that sent it to me.
Well, like I said, it's either Louie, Michael, E, or
Badger
Sophie.
sends me stuff, or Sophie sends me stuff.
Yeah, it's usually one of those.
One.
Yeah, it's usually one of those four people. And it's like I said, I feel kind of bad because sometimes I can't remember because I do write stuff down, but then like shit ends up getting thrown out and like scraps of paper and
because we had a big shipment of, for some reason, a bunch of them all came in at once.
Yeah.
Remember that?
Yeah.
It was like a week. There was like a 2 or 3 week period where we got about 20 of them.
Louis said, "Yes, sir, that was me."
Yeah, it was good. Fucking Louis, man, that was fucking great.
I hadn't seen that since I was a teenager, and actually, I'd never seen the Redux version, so I thought that was cool. I'd only seen the theatrical cut.
I'd never seen it on Blu-ray. I'd only seen it on VHS.
Yeah.
And man, the difference is fucking huge. It's a huge difference.
Well, honestly, for the final cut, which they released in 2019, they re-released in 2019. Which is like 20 minutes shorter than the Redux version. They actually like went through and cleaned it up, like frame by frame. Not for the Blu-ray one, but for the final cut one. So I guess if it comes out, it'll be like the ultimate version.
Louis, we got into it, man, about an hour and a half. I brought up a lot of parallels between Conan, because it's a Milius story. John Milius wrote that, and there's a lot of the same themes. I don't know if you picked them up, but you probably did, knowing Conan, knowing that story.
I think it'll be a good review.
There's a lot of meaning, behind stuff, and it's not 100% accurate. I had platoon sergeants and squad leaders that served in those units during the Vietnam theater. My first sergeant in the 506, First Sergeant Richardson, went up and down Hamburger Hill 3 times in about a 24-hour period, and it was him and only 2 or 3 other guys from that platoon that lived. And he had pictures to prove it. In his pocket, he had a picture of the whole platoon laid out dead on the flight line to be flown out. Yeah, he kept it in his pocket to remember him. But his whole platoon got wiped out there.
Yeah.
And we had a couple of squad leaders they were old squad leaders by then. They were fucking damn near pushing 50 back then, but they were still around. They probably weren't that old, probably late 40s, mid-late 40s. And so a lot of Vietnam stories, from guys that were in our units. It's not like what you heard a lot, and it's not 100% like you saw in Apocalypse Now. The ship was run a lot tighter. It was a lot more by the numbers, by the book. But a lot of what you see in Apocalypse Now was spiritually true, if you know what I mean. A lot of stuff they were doing was stuff that they wished they could do. Like they wished they could ski off the back of the patrol boat. You couldn't actually get away with it though. You'd get killed.
Yeah, I mean, we talked about
they wouldn't
this.
Allow shit. They ran
we talked
shit
about all
time.
this on the review.
Talk about it on a review,
which is coming out Thursday if you're a patron, or Friday if you're not a patron. So you'll be able to see that. And we went on I think it was an hour and 15 minutes, hour and 20 minutes, something like that.
But
there's a lot to talk about.
There's a lot to talk about. There's a lot of interesting stuff in there, both factual and
Bye, Poke.
Yeah, see you, Poke. And
factual
stuff and kind of like mythological and mythical. There's a lot of mythicism in it.
Yeah.
Just like Conan 1.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So this movie we ended up... This is really weird how we ended up watching this. Because basically I told Tom, I was like, okay, well we have to watch another kind of newish one. So let's check Amazon Prime and see what the fuck is up there. So we start scrolling through there, and it's like we saw a couple. There was like a Korean one that sounded like, oh, that's a possibility. Maybe that one's good. And then we get to the end, and we find this movie, which on Amazon Prime, it's called The 13th Locker, and it says that it came out in 2020, right?
Yeah.
And we read the little description, and it's like it's an anthology, and I'm like, ooh, my little ears perked up, because I'm kind of like, ooh, I like anthology movies. And they said it's kind of in the vein of, you know, Suspense or The Twilight Zone. And I was like, oh, that sounds pretty good. So we watched it, and we enjoyed it. But then, like, when I was doing research, I found out that the movie is actually called Locker 13, which I thought from the title card, too. I'm like, that looks like Locker 13, not the 13th Locker, but whatever. And it actually came out in 2014, not 2020. So yeah. I don't know why that mistake is like that.
It must have been re-released.
Maybe. And the thing about it, too, is that I think that all the directors, because I think there are like 5 or 6 directors on this, because it's, like I said, it's an anthology. I think they had been working on it since 2009. Like, they had a Kickstarter. They made the first story, the one about the boxer, and that was kind of like what they showed to people, like, on their Kickstarter page, like, to get money. Yeah. So they ended up getting money, but it took them, like, 5 years to make it.
It had Ricky Schroeder in it.
Yeah.
Had a bunch of, I would call them C and D list celebrities.
Well, it had so many, everybody
from
that's in this.
From a long time ago. You recognize
you're
them
like,
when you
hey,
see
it's
them.
that guy.
It's like, yeah, it's
hey,
that guy. It's that guy. Yeah. Yeah. So they all did a great job.
They're all fat guys in this movie.
Yeah. Oh, that guy. Yeah. They were all like the supporting character actors that you remember from a while back. You know what I mean? But they were probably guys that would work cheap. But they did a great job. It's kind of like a Twilight Zone.
It is kind of,
like a bunch of Twilight Zone episodes. Yeah.
It's kind of like, yeah, this even had Curtis Armstrong in it because he was in the second segment. And I was like, hey, it's Booger from Revenge of the Nerds.
Yeah.
But, so it's like a lot of shit like that. But so it's weird because it seems like this movie got like really, really bad reviews, except on horror sites. It seemed like a lot of horror sites seemed to kind of dig it. But a lot of other kind of sites were just like, nah, they just thought it was dumb or whatever. But, I don't know. I thought it was like pretty entertaining. So basically,
I think the horror fans are a little bit more forgiving because it's like, oh, it's another one. It's another anthology.
And I think a lot of horror fans are like me, and they like anthology movies.
It's just another anthology. It's pretty good.
And it was kind of cool that it went more for like a Twilight Zone-y type of vibe than like a Creep Show type of vibe. You know what I mean? Not that I don't love Creep Show and shit like that.
Yeah, it's definitely Twilight Zone.
It is very Twilight Zone-y. Yeah. So here's what it is. Now the wraparound story, which has the guy. Man, the dude that's playing the fucking Archie, the guy that's training the other guy at the Old West Park or whatever, that dude, I mean, I remembered him. I think the first time I saw him I think that was him that was in Ferris Bueller's Day Off. He was like the guy that was parking the car. And, you know, Ferris was like, do you speak English? And he's like, what country do you think this is? I think it's that guy, but he's been like in a shit ton of other shit too. So you open on this Old West theme park. It's essentially like a Tombstone. You know, it's like they have tourists come in there like fucking Disneyland or whatever. And so he's there training a night janitor person named Skip, who has just gotten out of prison for something. Does he ever say what he got out of prison for? I don't think he does. I think he kind of like evades the question.
Yeah, he evades it.
So he's training him for this job. And while he's kind of walking him around to give him a tour, he sort of tells him the stories. And all of the stories are not really related other than that they all feature a locker, like Locker 13, right? That's the only thing that ties them all together. So the first story, Ricky Schroeder is in it, who I recognized immediately. I was like, hey, it's Ricky Schroeder. And he plays kind of this aging, like, over-the-hill boxer. And he's just, like, kind of getting his ass beat all the time. And his manager is just kind of like, bro, it's over. You know what I mean?
You're not going to spoil these, are you?
No, I'm not going to. Yeah. I'm just going to kind of set it up.
That was a good one, and it was very simple.
Yeah, and that was probably the most Twilight Zone. I don't know. It's hard to say. That definitely was the most Twilight Zone. Yeah,
it was a little bit short for a Twilight Zone episode.
It was very short,
But that's like something that they would have done, Yeah. They would have expounded on it.
Yeah.
But evidently, that was the demo they used to fund the rest of the
Yeah,
movie.
that was the first one
Which
that
made
they
sense,
made.
yeah.
Yeah, so it was like the shortest one to get Kickstarter money. So yeah, so he's like this washed up boxer, and then this kind of mysterious janitor, I don't know who that dude was, gives him a pair of these gloves, and suddenly shit starts to go differently.
Yeah, you beat anybody's ass for these gloves.
Sometimes more than beat their ass. So so like I said, this is a very short story, very simple. These are all just kind of like short, almost like little morality plays, just like Twilight Zone was. Yeah. So then there's that one. Then the second one, which is probably like the funniest one, was called The Byzantine Order.
This is actually, I think, my favorite one.
I think I liked this one the best too.
Yeah.
This one was like the weirdest one. It was, for whatever reason, it was set like back in the 1920s, I guess, like just from the slang and everything.
Yeah, it's a fraternal order, kind of like the Shriners or something, with their fucking crazy fez.
They're called the Benevolent Byzantine Order of the Nobles of the Enigmatic Oracle.
Yeah,
That's what they're called.
Yeah.
This is the one that has Booger in it.
Yeah, and then it got the old guy that always used to show up in the old movies. He's always the old wise guy. I don't know what his name of that actor is.
And that guy, the old guy that was in the wheelchair, that was the dude, that was Lebowski from The Big Lebowski.
Okay, that's why I recognized him.
That's because you were like, man, I've seen that. And I couldn't place him, but then later I thought of it. Yeah, it's that guy.
Okay.
I was like, well, I kept calling him Dick Cheney because he kind of
he's like Dick Cheney.
He looks a little bit like Dick Cheney.
Yep.
But yeah, so basically this one, set in the 1920s, it's set in this kind of like fraternal order type of thing with all their little fezzes and whatnot. And there's this guy named Eugene, and he's supposed to be the new recruit, right?
Yeah.
So he's not really sure what he's getting in for. He's like
scared
kind
he's going to get paddled.
He's scared he's going to get paddled or maybe sacrificed or who knows what the hell's going on. And then there's like kind of a plot twist with the burlesque dancer that they hire who pops out of the cake and with her baby in there. And like all of a sudden they kind of make I don't know. That one was like probably the funniest one. And then the third one is called Suicide Club. This is probably the weakest one. It was all right because it was mostly just, it was this dude and he was going to jump off a building, right? I was getting pretty inebriated by this point.
Yeah.
But he's going to jump off a building and then suddenly this dude turns up who's from the Suicide Club, and he's basically like, man, don't do it like that. You got to do this. He's giving him like pointers on like how to kill himself. So it was kind of like a cool concept, but it's basically just like two guys on a roof like talking to each other. So that was probably the weakest one, but that was an okay one too. Yeah. And then the last one, the last one other than the wraparound.
And we say it's okay. The performances are pretty good in all of them. It's great. It's the writing. It's, it could have been a little bit more, but like I said, some of those Twilight Zone episodes, there wasn't a whole lot to them either. But it was entertaining.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then the last one, except for the end of the wraparound, was called The Author. And this one was basically, I think we were talking, and so I missed like the setup of the beginning. But what it was is that there's a dude who, I guess he was like a hitman, and he supposedly had killed this guy, and then he kidnapped this guy's 3 mistresses and chained him to a wall. And then he was trying to figure out which one of them hired him to kill the dude. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So there was that whole thing. That one was pretty good, but like I said, I missed a lot of the setup, and I had to like look it up later, like what, because I was like, wait, why are these girls chained to the wall and he's like threatening to kill him? I don't get.
That was pretty loaded.
But yeah, that too.
I kind of overpoured.
Yeah, a little bit.
Yeah.
I mean, I
was kind of losing track of some of that.
I mean, I remember. Like, and plus we were having a conversation.
Yeah,
I think
we were talking about something.
We were talking about something. It's probably hormones.
Yeah.
We were talking about hormones. And so we missed like the beginning of the part. So I only saw like the second half of this. A lot of people kind of got all over the dude that was playing the hitman, and how he's like a fake Cuban accent, and like they were wondering why he made that decision. But whatever. So then you get like the end of the wraparound, and actually I really liked this because it went in a direction I didn't expect. So like I said, the wraparound is the dude Archie, and he's training Skip to be like the nighttime janitor at this like Old West theme parky type attraction. So what ends up happening is that Skip, Archie has told him, hey, stay away from my locker, which is locker 13. Don't even clean it. Like, don't even touch it with the thing. So it's all like gross and dirty and everything. So of course, Skip is like, I'm going to check that shit out. I want to see what's going on back there. Cause it's supposed to this big, like he hears like noises coming from in there and shit. And then he opens it, and it's, basically he sees himself in there, but it's himself from like a day ahead or a day behind.
I forgot.
I can't remember.
Yeah.
So it's like another, like an alternate dimension version of him. Yeah. And he's like talking. So of course they're like, hey, we can like do the lottery, and because I have tomorrow's lottery numbers and all this other kind of shit. But of course it doesn't work out the way that you think it's gonna work out. Yeah. Because so I kind of liked that it went in that weird like supernaturally kind of direction, because I wasn't really expecting that. So yeah, this was a pretty solid anthology. I feel like I was entertained.
Yeah.
I don't know.
There's nothing to complain about.
Not really. And that's the thing. It seemed very strange to me that when this came out, because like I said, I thought it was recent. I thought it was from this year, but it's actually from like 6 years ago. But it seemed like when it came out 6 years ago, like a lot of people really were just like, man, or they just like didn't like
That's
it.
because they were spoiled back then.
Maybe it's like it's like they were giving it like 1 or 2 stars, and I'm like, I don't get it. I thought it was perfectly good. And then, like I said, I found a couple horror sites though that gave it like 75%.
Maybe
really
the competition
gave it, like,
went on there and fucking gave it 1 star.
Yeah, maybe, I don't know.
I heard that people bomb each other's products all the time.
Yeah, people are petty like
people
that.
People are petty, yeah.
They probably do.
They're like, I hate that fucker, man. Go ahead and bomb it. We're all going to go and bomb that movie. And it's like the crew off another movie.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
I heard
they did that.
We have to torpedo that movie so our movie will be like...
Well, remember that one that we saw?
So bitchy.
Well, there was one of those fucking crappy movies that we saw, and it had like it had been out for about a week, and it had about 20 ratings, and they were all fucking 5-star ratings. Turns out it was everybody on the damn.
Well, that's everybody on the crew and like their relatives.
Terrible.
Well, because everybody does that. They always kind of like, "Hey, mom, go and write a good review of my movie." It's like you don't even have to watch it. Just say it's the most awesome thing you ever saw.
It was terrible. That wasn't the one about the clowns, was it?
Oh man! Oh, now I can't remember. Ones? Remember that with Clown Fear?
Yeah, I think it was. It was Clown Fear. The one before it that we saw. It was pretty bad.
The only thing I liked about Clown Fear was that clown motel. Because I was like, is that a real place? If it's not a real place, then they did a really good job of like set dressing it. Although I almost kind of hope it's a real place.
It was just some kind of... I think it was Clown Fear, I think. I think that was the one that had all the fake ratings on it.
Yeah, maybe. But that's I imagine that's pretty widespread. And like I said, if you're a little indie filmmaker and you made a movie with your friends for like, a few $1,000, then, I mean... that's just what you would do. I mean, you would get all your friends and family to go on there and talk about how cool your shit is. Well, no, I'm just saying a lot of people do.
What you would do is at least get somebody that can write a script.
Well, yeah, what you would do is like make a good movie.
It all happens.
That's harder than it seems like.
It all happens in the writing phase. If the story isn't there, the movie isn't going to be there. Don't fucking make the movie until the fucking script is good.
Yeah. Because writers like
yes,
we're at the heart of all of the entertainment.
Writers,
yes.
All those badass movies like Apocalypse Now we just talked about. It wasn't Francis Ford Coppola. It was fucking John Milius, the writer.
Yeah.
You know, even though a lot of it got cut out, it still didn't matter. The story was there, and fucking Milius was like, "Yeah, that's it. That's the story."
Yeah.
So
Louis,
it's the writer.
Yeah. I mean, like I said, everything starts with that.
If you don't have a good writer, you're not going to have a good anything.
No. That's
and here's another thing.
Down to it.
When I say good writers, there are writers that are good that aren't good for certain things. All right, there's
everyone has their strengths and weaknesses.
Yeah, like fuck, man. What's a good okay? Rian Johnson. Fucking, you don't want that motherfucker on Star Wars, but Knives Out was great. I
loved Knives Out.
Knives Out was really good. All right,
because you could tell that was the kind of movie he liked to make. That was right.
He was not the. He's good director, and I guess he writes too. All right, he's good. It's just he's not good for Star Wars.
Yeah, he's just and like I said, some people are just not suited.
Yeah, he was the wrong guy.
And I mean, I didn't hate that movie as much as a lot of people did, but I can see how they maybe should have got somebody who tried to reboot their wheelhouse.
He tried to reboot a fucking established franchise and subvert and do tricky artistic things with something that is essentially a fucking traditional comfort movie.
Yeah.
You're not supposed to do that with the
it's like I can see why people would want to do that, because particularly people that are really artistic, they're like, man, I don't want to do the same thing over again. I don't want to do what people expect. That's so boring. It's like, I get it. I do get that, because I'm the same.
That's not what Star Wars was.
I know, but that's the thing.
That's why The Mandalorian works.
If they gave me Star Wars, I would probably have done the same thing. I'd be like, man, this is so boring. I'm just like, I need to like shake this up a little bit.
That was the wrong
just
move.
To entertain myself, It's
wrong move for Star Wars. That's why The Mandalorian works, is because The Mandalorian is what Star Wars is. A fucking Western and a samurai movie at the same time.
They really captured the essence
That's
of that.
what it is. Right. And a World War II movie.
Yeah.
Right. Well, at least the big trilogy movies was a World War II movie. That was a cowboy movie and a samurai movie at once.
Yeah.
It's a hodgepodge, but they made it work. But you know what? Lucas didn't really have a whole lot to do with that. That was in edit. And then fucking Empire Strikes Back. Really, Lucas was more like advising.
Yeah.
Fucking, who was that dude that did that one? It was the same director that did, I think, RoboCop 2.
Yeah, shit, I can't remember his name.
RoboCop 2 is good, too. I like that one. Yeah.
I'm laughing at Louis saying, "Are you drunk?" No, I just overpoured.
Yeah.
Tom Ross 2021.
Yeah, just kind of overpoured.
Yeah. Louis also said Looper is good, which I think Rian Johnson directed that. I still haven't seen that, but I really want to see that.
He's good. He's good. I kind of feel bad for him that he got shit on so badly for Star Wars. But I agree, he did not handle Star Wars the right way. But he's not a bad director. He's a good director. Well, he's just got to be on a right project.
Yeah, and like I said, that's true of any artistic person. It's kind of like, it would be kind of like if somebody gave me, $100,000 and said, "Hey, write this romantic comedy." It would be terrible. I'm telling you that right now.
Yeah,
I do not. I am not into romantic comedy. I'm not, and I just wouldn't even know how to approach it. Now, if you came to me and gave me $100,000 to write me a badass horror movie, okay, I can do that. But
yeah, and you don't want to put John Milius on a fucking romance movie. You want John Milius on a fucking war movie. War movies and warrior movies and fighting and fucking, because Milius,
or westerns. He's super into westerns.
Yeah. Milius in his interviews will not shy away. He goes, "You have to understand, I'm a warlike person." He just comes out and says it. I'm a very warlike person, and but he's looking at it from a different way, not the corporate warfare, the spiritual warfare. Internal war from the first person and getting beyond it. Motherfucker's got PTSD. He's got to, or at least he understands it.
Pat said Irvin Kershner is who you're thinking of about the Star Wars.
Yeah.
That's what I know. I'm sitting there going, it's K.
Yeah, that's right.
Starts with a K.
Because I think pretty much everybody agrees that Empire Strikes Back was the best of all those movies. That one was really the best one. Even though I liked all the original, I liked the original trilogy, all of them. Especially kind of like the first re-edit of Return of the Jedi, when they changed the Ewok soundtracks and changed a little bit. They said, man, the Ewoks were too fucking silly in the original cut. There was some silly shit, man. You know what? Fucking Lucas cannot shy away from silly shit. Fucking robots, C-3PO falling into the fucking sand, head first to the feet. It's just childish laughs. Give me that edit. I could change that shit.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Even though, the best fucking Star Wars movie, it was Empire Strikes Back, I believe.
Well, like I said, I don't think anyone's going to argue with you on that score.
Either.
Mango said Big Wednesday is a great film by John Milius.
Yeah, I don't know that one.
Yeah, so
yeah, that's another one.
He made one called Rough Riders as well.
I haven't seen that one.
That was maybe from, I want to say 2010, 2011, something like that. I think it's a Western.
I got to see the Dirty Harry movies again. I haven't seen that since I was a kid.
I think he did the first two.
I think he did the first two. I think
if I'm remembering it correctly.
Or he wrote them. I don't think he didn't direct them. I don't think.
No, he does direct movies too, but I don't know.
Yeah.
Those ones were just kind of that he wrote, as far as I know. Well, Pat like says at least they're better than Porgs, Ewoks.
Oh fuck, man! Fucking Porgs. They just
you're a Porg.
The problem with the new ones is that it was too much try hard. We're gonna make a new thing, and it's gonna sell all kinds of fucking plushies. going to be a porg. We're going to make a new thing. And then they tried too hard to make a new thing. You cannot make a cultural phenomenon. Cultural phenomena happen spontaneously. They're not really that predictable. And the porg is a good example of how we're going to make a cultural phenomenon. No, you're not. No, you're not. You can't predict it.
They were trying to do like the Minions from Despicable Me, I guess. Which that really took off, but I guess they didn't really fucking...
I think maybe BB-8 could have been something like that, maybe, had the other two movies panned out. The first Force Awakens movie wasn't perfect, but I saw it as them trying to reestablish the franchise. And it wasn't bad. I liked it the first couple of times I saw it. It's just that in retrospect, after the other ones, it's like the second movie shat on the first movie. So why watch the first movie? Because it reversed all that shit anyway.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So what? And then they just fuck, man. Disney just can't do anything. I don't know what's wrong with that corporation. Well, I take that back. The fucking Mandalorian. Watch them fuck Mandalorian up.
Well, the thing about it is that you're not seeing the same teams working.
Yeah, it's not the same team.
It's not. Right. Yeah, it's not like one big.
Right.
It's not one person. It's like lots of little sub.
Like for instance, let's make sure we got lots of diversity with women, and we're gonna have a black character and everything. He's gonna be great. He's gonna be a stormtrooper, but he's gonna be a janitor. What the fuck is this all about? You know what I mean? And he's not gonna get the girl. It's just like, if you're going to have him fucking in there, commit. Do it. He should not have been a fucking cowardly fucking stormtrooper janitor who's run away from the Empire. What kind of shit is that? He should have fucking been a badass commando fucking stormtrooper that somehow had to leave. You know what I mean? He should have had an honorable way. And then realizes that really he shouldn't have been there. Or it turns out he was a Jedi, didn't know it. He is a Jedi that got... or a young Jedi Padawan that got brainwashed or mind wiped or something like that. But he remembered. The Force awakened in him. Some shit like that. I could have come up with a better...
Some shit like that.
Yeah, I could have come up with a much better version of fucking Finn. I could have come up with a much... They fucked that character up. I feel bad for John Boyega. Because he was... It was gonna be good, but the writing, they just fucked it up.
Louis said there's a good documentary on Milius on Netflix, I think. Or maybe Amazon Prime.
Oh, yeah?
Might have to look that up.
Check it out.
Yeah.
All right. I'd check that one out.
John Milius was the spiritual advisor on Lone Wolf McQuade.
He was? No! No! Get the fuck out of here. Next you're going to tell me he was fucking working with fucking Steven Seagal. Imagine that shit. Imagine John Milius trying to write a Seagal flick and directing Seagal, and Seagal trying to get into a pissing match. You know, on my films, I'm the law.
Yeah.
John Milius fucking pull out that fucking 44 Magnum. He carried a fucking 1911. I don't know if you guys know this, but fucking when he'd be negotiating with Hollywood executives, he'd be in their offices, you know what I mean? And he was just totally cut from a different fucking cloth, you know? And he'd start negotiating stuff, and while he's talking to fucking studio exec, he'd pull out that fucking 1911 and put it on a table and fucking light a cigarette and shit like that. Fucking make it. And then the studio exec, what the fuck? Putting the 45 on a table to discuss business and shit. Motherfucker was a trip.
Louis said seriously he was.
What's that?
He was the spiritual advisor.
He was the spiritual McQuaid.
Although the shit you were saying about Steven Seagal, like what you said, like in Steven Seagal's voice, I could totally. It would not shock me in the least.
Could you imagine it? Oh yeah.
To think that Steven Seagal said something like that.
Well, he said that to fucking John Leguizamo, and then fucking hit him in the throat or punched him. He's just, you know, when I'm on a set, what I say is law.
Yeah.
And it wasn't his movie; it was somebody else's movie.
He's such a tool.
Yeah, it's a fucking douchebag. But imagine him saying that shit to fucking Milius. You gotta understand something, John. When I'm on set, what I say is law. Fucking Milius.
Milius would just shoot his face off.
He'd fucking pull that pistol out. What?
Sorry, I didn't hear.
He'd go Ariel Sharon on his ass.
It's fucking funny. Mango said Seagal was born from a John Milius toenail cutting.
Yeah. Yeah.
That's pretty funny.
Fucking... Okay, let me rephrase all this shit, because I don't want that motherfucker coming after me. All right? Even as fat as he is, they're going to have to lock me up if that motherfucker comes after me, because I ain't going to hold back. But I'll tell you one thing. The amazing man that fucking Seagal is, as amazing as he is, I don't think Milius would have put up with that shit.
Well, and nor would anyone in their right mind.
No.
I mean...
Milius would have done something to fuck him over.
Yeah.
And I think a lot of people did things to fucking Seagal to fuck him over. That's why he lives over in Russia and makes these little independent films now. You know. But,
yeah, because he just pissed so many people off because he's insufferable.
He showed up to one movie that they had, and they already had pre-written lawsuits fucking written out to fuck on Steven Seagal about not showing up and not showing up to work and fucking with people on set. They already had preset law.
They're like, we know how this shit's gonna go. We've been. This isn't our first rodeo. So.
They didn't file them.
Yeah.
They just fucking already had them all pre-written and they showed it to them. Ain't that some shit? Imagine that shit. They had all the lawsuits.
That's the kind of reputation
because they knew exactly who he was. And then during the edit, they made sure to fuck that movie up so it didn't make any sense. Isn't that funny? That way, because they were trying to get him out of the business.
Yeah.
Fucking funny. It was like his last studio movie.
I mean, you just can't go around acting that way. Everyone's just gonna like...
He's a sociopath.
Yeah, everyone's gonna take fucking revenge on your ass. He's
not even a fucking psychopath. A psychopath fucking understands the fact that don't bite the hand that feeds you.
Right.
You know what I mean? And a psychopath recognizes the power other people have over them.
Right.
Not a sociopath. Sociopaths fucking, they're too disorganized. They're just winging it. And it's basically a pathological lie. Basically, it's a pathological liar. That's what it is.
Yeah.
It's a pathological liar. So they're acting only in the moment. There's no Machiavellian plan for success. That's why they don't succeed.
Yeah.
A high-functioning psychopath can plan and fucking, execute a mission.
Yeah.
The only thing that kind of really differentiates a high-functioning psychopath from a normal person is that a high-functioning psychopath doesn't care about casualties.
Yeah.
That's all it is. Doesn't care that other people got fucked over from this plan. They don't care. It's like a survival of the fittest type things. Well, if they were worth their shit, they wouldn't have let me fuck them over that way.
Yeah.
So they deserve it. It's that. Almost military.
Yeah.
Because that's kind of the way it is.
Pat is asking more details about the Steven Seagal John Leguizamo face-off.
Okay.
What movie was it?
I forgot which movie.
I can't remember what movie they were working on.
It was one of Seagal's last. I think it might have been Seagal's last studio-backed movie.
Yeah.
John Leguizamo was They were all backstage getting ready for something. Not really backstage, or they were off the set.
Yeah.
I think they were in a stairwell somewhere. And they were saying something about what the director had said. And Steven Seagal says, the director said this and that. And Steven Seagal says, he goes, just remember, people, what I say. When I'm on set, what I say is law.
Yeah, he said something to that effect.
Yeah, and fucking John Leguizamo fucking laughed.
He laughed, as you would, as a normal person would, because he's like, he thought he was joking, I think.
Yeah, and fucking John Leguizamo's about 5'5". All right?
Yeah, he's a little dude.
Yeah, and fucking Seagal's big. That's really where his power comes from, was his size. If you got a big motherfucker in an outfit and he can lie, you might believe him. All right.
Yeah, what is he, 6'4"?
He's pretty big.
6'2",
6'3", something like that. And fucking, he fucking goes boom like that and puts him like in a chokehold type thing, and like that. And I forgot what he said. He says, like I am the law type of deal. I am the law. And fucking Leguizamo's like, oh, why? Why'd you do it? Why? And that got out. That was part of the end of Seagal, was him jumping on little fucking John Leguizamo just for fucking snickering.
Snickering at a very snicker-worthy statement.
Yeah, just like, yeah, sure.
Yeah, okay. Well, because like I said, you would think that he was kidding.
You would think he was joking,
because
right?
who the fuck says shit like that unironically? Come on now. Nobody. That's who.
Seagal doesn't have things like a sense of irony or
he
humor.
really doesn't.
He doesn't have any sense of humor either.
No, he really doesn't.
He was very insecure, I think.
Executive decision.
Executive decision. I think that's right. Yeah. He's very insecure with his with himself and his position. I think because he suspects everybody knows that he lied his way into that career, into all, and that he's kind of a fake. Yeah. In a lot of ways, because he's lied about a lot of shit over the years that he fucking worked for the CIA. He worked for the CIA, or no, I didn't. And then he always backs up on the shit when they called him on it over time. But he told a lot of fucking what is fucking Gordon Ramsay called them?
Porkies.
Porkies. He told a lot of porkies. Early
that's
on.
Pork pies. That's Cockney rhyming slang.
Yeah. Told a lot of porkies, and it kind of caught up with him over time. You know.
Yeah.
He was from before the internet, before you could really fucking check, and that, you know what I mean. Fucking nowadays, everything people recorded of what was said on these talk shows ends up being saved and used against you later. He's a sociopath. He would just lie on the spot, not thinking that shit was recorded and then one day would resurface as technology got better. You know, that wasn't part of the plan, you know, so. Yeah. But I gotta hand it to fucking Seagal. His first group of movies was pretty good for the time. Yeah. Hard to Kill was pretty good. Out for Justice. I really liked Under Siege 1. Under Siege 2 is kind of corny, but I kind of liked it too from what I remember. But it had some hooky shit in it. But it's supposed to. I didn't take Under Siege 2 seriously. You didn't really take any of that shit seriously, really. It was, you know.
Well, yeah, they were just kind of fun popcorn movies.
Right. You know. But he took that shit very seriously.
He did, Which I think is one of his problems.
And he would walk around on these talk shows about, you know, basically saying, yeah, I could kick that dude's ass, I could kick that dude's ass, I could kick all these dudes' asses. He couldn't kick anybody's asses. He'd never been in any fucking fights. Yeah. There's no recordings of him being in any kind of professional fight. Yeah. He's not a fighter. He was an actor. Yeah. Yeah, he did Aikido. And yeah, he was big. That Aikido shit's fake. Yeah. It's like fake wrestling, kind of fake. Well, he was a real Aikido martial artist. It's just that Aikido is not all that real. Yeah.
Well, it's not really the martial art you want if you actually do want to kick people's ass.
Yeah, if you want to kick somebody's ass, you use MMA. Yeah, MMA. Fucking that cage fighting shit. It's going to end up on the ground in a fucking bed and fucking punching, fucking biting motherfucking knee shit. And then that dude's like this, you know, he's all fucked up. And you stand up and you fucking stomping on that bitch, stomping this fucking down into a goddamn greasy spot on the ground. Man. That's usually how it really goes. So, man, I used to get in some of those fights. We just fucking beat on each other until you're just too tired. You're both sitting down, fucking breathing.
Never mind.
I'll get you in a minute. Because it gets good. Because it almost gets to a point once you get over it where you can't really hurt each other that badly. You're too tired. Yeah. You lost all your strength and you can't really punch hard enough anymore. Neither one of you is really hurting each other. And then everybody watches, all right, it's over, good. Yeah, fuck it. Give me a cigarette. That's usually how it goes. And you bitches know what I'm talking about. It's never like in the movies where, pow! Sometimes you had, you know, fucking one shot knockout fucking artists and shit, but a lot of those guys that could knock you out with one blow, they were kind of just an artist at knocking you out. If he failed, a lot of times he got his ass beat because he just knew how to sweet spot somebody. Yeah. But he didn't have any kind of mega endurance.
Yeah, he's like, I hadn't planned for anything beyond this.
I hadn't really planned anything beyond that. Yeah, because you see that shit happen too. But no, fucking. If you got good groundwork, you can just choke somebody out into oblivion. You clearly won at that point. You clearly won.
Pro tip.
Yeah, that's usually how it goes.
All right. Anything else you would like to add?
That's about it.
About this? Yeah. So this movie kind of, you know, I'll just wrap it up with that. If you like anthology movies, if you like Twilight Zone type shit, check it out. It's not fantastic, but it's pretty good. I don't know why it's called The 13th Locker on Amazon Prime, because it's actually called Locker 13, but whatever. It's the same fucking movie. Mm-hmm. All right. So
Mark's going the before times.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, back when that shit happened.
Back when that shit happened.
Yeah.
All right, so that'll do it for today, I guess. Now, tomorrow is Wednesday, which means tomorrow at 5 p.m. Eastern is our midweek Sidetracks party stream. Woohoo! Gonna have we don't even know what we're gonna talk about. Yeah. You guys will find out same time we do.
Yeah.
All right, so thanks everybody for coming by, and we'll see you guys tomorrow evening. Bye.